Am I the jerk for destroying family Christmas? I've been with my wife for about 5 years, married for 2, and we have a 1-year-old son. My mom is the type of person who doesn't like change and doesn't like new people and keeps to herself. That being said, she isn't controlling and doesn't seem to care what her kids do with their lives, but she doesn't like when she feels things are pushed on her. She is also someone who will keep doing what she does without thinking. So, when we continue to buy me lavish gifts, but nothing for my wife or baby, I didn't think it was malicious, but it hurt my wife that even after marriage, my mom wasn't buying her gifts. I sat down with my mom and I explained this. My mom was totally shocked and couldn't believe that my wife expected a gift. I tried to explain that my wife is part of the family now, but my mom was upset and said that she has 3 kids and shouldn't have to pretend my wife is her kid. She seemed really surprised, so I do think that that was genuine, and she kept saying how mortified she would be if her husband expected gifts from her parents and that she wouldn't be with such a, quote, entitled child. Finally, I told my mom to stop. It is okay if she has a difference of opinion, but she is hurting my wife and it needs to stop. My mom thought about it for a couple of months, talked to my sisters who said she should just suck it up and buy gifts for our partners, and her ultimate decision was that she didn't want to host Christmas anymore. I thought she was bluffing, so I ignored it for months. I realized she was being serious and said, fine, we can do it at my house, but she didn't want to come. I mailed her a small gift as a test. She mailed it back. Finally, I was like, screw it, and did Christmas with my wife, sisters, and their partners. Both of my sisters were miserable the entire time, and one cried, which I thought was crazily dramatic. My mom was on vacation and had her phone off. The sister who cried finally blew up that my wife and I ruined Christmas and ruined our family, and she left early. Her and my other sister called on my mom later and finally got her to answer and begged her to do a normal Christmas again. And my mom said she feels like now that we are all getting married and having kids, it shouldn't be her problem anymore. And she will think about it, but she is leaning towards me. Now my sisters are angry and feel that I ruined family Christmas. Am I the jerk? Rewinding back all the way to the OP's wife, getting and receiving gifts is probably her love language. If you guys have heard of this concept, some people have specific love languages where they either give love or feel love that is received, and one of those is gift giving and gift receiving. So that's probably what she was just trying to express there, is that she didn't feel like she was loved, a part of the family, and as some people might think it's consumeristic or materialistic, that's probably just the way that she feels loved by the family, and maybe that's the way she shows her love by giving people gifts as well, as opposed to other types of love languages like quality time and acts of service, stuff like that. The strange part here is that the OP is doing things to test if his mom is bluffing. The wife is clearly saying what is bothering her, and the mom is clearly saying what bothers her, but somehow he's doing things that are trying to test her bluff, which is kind of a weird reaction, but he's also put in a strange spot because he's stuck between the two rocks of his mom and his wife here. And he doesn't say anything about this, but it sounds like his mom already has some sort of preconceived notions about his wife, at least to some degree, because she even refers to his wife as an entitled child. So let me know what you guys think. Jerk or not a jerk, and what would you do if you were in this situation? Am I the jerk for siding with my parents when they told my sister and her fiance to sleep separately? I'm a 19-year-old female and I live with my parents who are 52 years old, my mom, and my dad is a 54-year-old male. I have an older sister who is 25 years old who's engaged to her boyfriend of 6 years who's 26. Her fiance and her have been living together for 3 years. They got engaged this year. My sister also announced to us a while ago that they're expecting a baby. In our house, there is a strict rule about unmarried couples not sleeping together, and my sister knows that. She's left the house for 3 years since she moved in with her fiance, and she started visiting us for the holidays. They live in a different area 2 hours away. For the past 3 years, the rule was that they'll sleep in different rooms since they're not official. But my sister was never fond of this rule and always tried to have it her way, but she didn't. This year, she threw a fit because my parents wouldn't let her sleep on the same bed as her fiance, despite them two living together for so many years and despite being engaged and expecting. They got in a huge fight on Christmas Eve, and I sided with my parents, saying that it's their house and their rules, and if she doesn't like it, she can just never visit again, but she has to respect the hosts and, most importantly, the people who raised her. Then she called me a jerk and said that I'm still too young to understand why what my parents are doing is disrespectful to her and to her fiance. I don't think I'm the jerk because no matter how absurd a rule sounds, if you visit someone's house, you do as they say. Period. But for the sake of collecting some unbiased opinions, am I the jerk for siding with my parents that when my sister threw a fit about how disrespectful it is and they won't let her sleep on the same bed, that it really wasn't? So, am I the jerk? Speaking to the side of the sister, in this case, she is engaged and she is expecting a baby. So she's almost married, but I guess that does violate the rule because you're not married yet. But it sounds like the OP just came across kind of weird because she actually said that her sister can just never visit the house again. I mean, even if that's what she's trying to get across, it is a very combative way to engage in this type of conversation. And of course, there's going to be some sort of blow up at the end of this. The sister pointing out her age really has nothing to do with this because that's kind of just a cheap way to dismiss her opinion, because in this case, she is an adult. But a lot of people seem to be really split on this. The very top response to everything is saying that you are the jerk. You told her she can either follow their rules or never visit again, which is very weird. Agreed. She's pregnant, engaged, and clearly sleeps next to this man regularly. They travel 2 hours to sleep at someone else's house because of the holidays and being forced to sleep separately because why? What are your parents afraid of? Be careful. One day your parents will no longer be around to host things like this. Do not make an enemy out of your sister. Someone pointed out that it's the stupid thing of not wanting their kids to do it before marriage, or that a relationship can't be serious before that. It's actually hilarious until your ex-girlfriend's parents were exactly the same. And if this is the case, I mean, obviously that didn't stop the sister and her fiance from having a baby before they were married, which is the intended purpose of this. But on the flip side, a lot of other people are pointing out that it is weird that the sister and her fiance would travel all the way there knowing what this rule was, because this rule has been in effect for a long time, and then expect to not follow it. So let me know what you would do if you were in this situation, and is the OP a jerk or not for siding with her parents against her sister? Am I the jerk for how I handle taking down the tree? So my boyfriend hates Christmas and he doesn't like giving or receiving gifts or any of the festive traditions. We've been dating for 4 years and he knows I love Christmas, so he plays along. Well, last night we agreed to take down the tree next week, but when we came downstairs today, he started taking everything down. His reasoning being that Christmas is over and the tree takes up space. Now here's the thing. A lot of the ornaments there are family heirlooms. Most of them are older or the same age as me, which is 24 years old. Or some of them were made by hand by my deceased grandmother. My boyfriend just started tossing the ornaments on a table, which started stressing me out. I was telling him to stop, to calm down, or either move and I'll put everything away. He was getting angry and started yelling at me because I'm trying to keep up the tree. Well, you probably guessed it. He threw an ornament and it broke. It was one of my grandmother's handmade ornaments. I took one long look and I just broke down. I started ugly crying. He started getting more mad, telling me that I'm being childish and stupid for getting upset about a tree. I feel like I'm the jerk because I already started yelling at him to step away from the tree because he was going to break more ornaments, and when he wouldn't, he kept calling me childish, and I kept yelling at him, telling him he's being a jerk. After he put everything away, he tried to talk to me, still telling me I was being childish and stupid about a tree and the ornament. I get how it might be childish, but I don't have very many memories of my grandmother. But I have a picture, and growing up, whenever I was sad, I would hug that picture and I would talk to her. I only have a small amount of jewelry or handmade ornaments or trinkets from her that are extremely special to me. So I don't know if I'm just being stupid and I blew things up. As a side note to anyone showing concern, my boyfriend never is like this. He's always shown me and my belongings and my family respect. He has no Christmas trauma, and despite not liking Christmas, he has always put in an effort into doing my Christmas traditions. That's partly why I was so confused here, and if I was the jerk, because this was so out of character for our relationship. He went upstairs for an hour, and when he came back, he apologized. He said he was stressed and frustrated about me yelling, and he wasn't being as careful as he should have been because of it. He said it was really an accident and that he felt bad about breaking the ornament. I plan on having a discussion with him, as the way he handled the situation wasn't right, and we'll see how things go. But before then, I need to know, am I the jerk? Yikes. If they've been together for 4 years celebrating Christmas, he must have known how sentimental these specific ornaments were, or if he didn't know exactly which ones they were, he must have known that some of the ornaments on the tree were from her deceased grandmother that she has this very emotional and sentimental attachment to. So that's weird, number one. And number two, they already seemed like they had an agreement the night before that they were going to take down the tree next week, but for some reason he came down and tried to take it down early, which is extremely weird for number two, because even in his apology, he doesn't really address that. Why did he start taking down the Christmas tree early to begin with if that was their agreement? It makes sense that he probably didn't try to break these ornaments on purpose. It was an accident. I get that, but why break the agreement you made just the day before? You couldn't possibly have forgotten it. So let me know what you would do in the situation, and also, is the OP a jerk or not a jerk, and why? Am I the jerk for getting a hotel room? I'm a 30-year-old male, and my partner, who's a 30-year-old female, flew halfway across the country to visit her family for Christmas. I sustained a serious back injury at work at the end of September, and I have just recently started gaining mobility again after many painful months. They were aware of my injury, and we even expressed our concerns about traveling because of it. Her parents are very traditional and refuse to allow unmarried couples to sleep in the same bed or room, even though they know we live together and have visited our house in the past. Because of this, I was forced to sleep in the basement bedroom on a twin mattress that is at least 20 years old. I should also mention that I am 6'3" and I do not fit on a twin mattress at all. The first night was so incredibly painful, it caused my entire right leg to go numb, and I essentially got no sleep. We decided to get a hotel room after that so I could actually sleep on a decent mattress that didn't make my injury worse. When I explained this to my partner's mother, she insisted that I just needed to adjust the mattress in the basement and that I was being ridiculous. I was firm but polite about it, and she seemed to be fine with it after that. Well, when it came time to head over to the hotel for the night, she freaked out. She apparently didn't know my partner was also staying at the hotel. She told my partner that she, quote, didn't raise her like this, and then just sulked in the living room while we packed our bags. Apparently, after we left, she spent the rest of the night crying. All I wanted to do was sleep in a bed that I could actually fit on and didn't cause active nerve pain in my leg. So, am I the jerk? I mean, the obvious answer here is he could have gone to the hotel by himself and left his partner in the family house, but clearly that wasn't going to happen here, so it was going to kick up a lot of dust. I can't imagine the mom would actually be totally fine with it if he had explained it to her that way. So maybe the mom felt a little bit tricked because he made it seem like he was going to the hotel and she wasn't, and then all of a sudden they surprised her with the daughter going as well. Because if he actually said, hey, I'm going with your daughter and we're going to the hotel room together, her reaction probably would have happened right then and there if all things were normal. There was actually an update about this where he said, we went back over to her parents this morning and her mom literally wouldn't even speak to either of us and was being incredibly passive aggressive. We went ahead and left for the airport to catch a flight home. We're enjoying some much needed rest at the airport and we're looking forward to get back home. I mean, if the injury needed her to be there to help him out with something, they could have told the mom that too, because the mom probably would have been more understanding. But if that wasn't the case, then it should have just been clear from the start. But let me know what you think, jerk or not a jerk for doing this, and what would you do?